We're live. If people out there are tuning in, we are just going live. We're going to let the magic world of Wi-Fi and internet catch up for the recording of this, so we can have a little bit of play with the editing if I even do edit this. Let me get a drink of water.
Like your water bottle.
Well, thank you. This episode is actually brought to you guys by Guest Room Records and supporting Montana local artists. We got stickers and stuff like that. So welcome to Hot Dwg Live podcast, where we grill up the juiciest conversations with the most captivating guests. Today, we're delighted to welcome Tashia Gates, the radiant force behind Somewhere Montana, our electrifying new local hit that was shot in Polson, Montana. And in this exclusive episode, we're going to plunge into the enchanting world behind the camera, diving into the casting intricacies, hurdles, and victories of filming amidst Polson's breathtaking vistas, not visits. Join us as we unravel Tasha's riveting odyssey from auditions to rap and uncover the secrets behind her portrayal of Rebecca. But always remember to seek wisdom and seek your own truth. And always remember to love God, love people, and love thy neighbor as thyself. Prepare for a spirited discussion brimming with joy, sorrow, and allure of Hollywood as we honor the talent and passion behind Polson's latest screen sensation with Tashia Gates. Welcome, Tashia.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's an honor. Thank you.
Likewise.
So, how are you doing today? How'd you feel when I was like, hey, I'm doing this crazy thing called Hot Dwg Live podcast, and we're going to talk about Somewhere Montana. Do you want to be on the show?
Well, I mean, I'm blessed because I got to work with you, and you've been part of this process since literally the very beginning. And so I was honored. I'm excited for you and seeing you get this podcast off the ground. I like what you stand for. When you said this is a sanctuary for expressing your artistic essence in a safe place. So I can get behind that.
Well, I'm so glad that you said yes, and I appreciate those kind words. Yeah, because the thing is, there's a lot of things nowadays. It just feels like we've gotten to the point where we can't even have a discussion of points of views of the ways of life, and without it turning into just. And so I'm like, I just want to talk about art. I want to talk about Jesus Christ. I want to talk about emotions, and I want to talk about some social truths, and really talk to people about, not just film stuff, but art stuff. I have a bunch of ideas of other people I want to talk to in the art world or the faith world or just stuff like that. And just know that I'm not here to change anybody's minds. I'm not here to badmouth anybody. I'm not here for any of that. I'm just trying to understand, because I love expanding the horizon of knowledge, because we were told to seek your own truth. We were told that. That's in faith right there. So welcome. And I'll be chilling in this. Oh, okay, got some, and we interact with some comments here and there. That's what I love about the live too. I actually wanted to, like, when I first had the idea of this, I'm like, I actually got a phone number because I want to do call-ins, but I don't know how to mix that in yet.
Working that out.
Working that out. So, Tashia, you are an amazing artist. You're a beautiful actress. How long have you been acting? How long has this passion been burning inside your soul?
Oh, well, thank you for those.
One of many, by the way. Most artists have more than one expression of their art medium. So we're not just tied to one. I'm not just an actor. She's not just an actress. We have other art forms. However, the film, the actress, that art form, how long have you been wanting to do all this?
Yeah, truthfully, it was just since I was a child. I grew up in Anaconda, Montana, very proud to say. And I remember I don't know if you remember this movie, 5 Goes West is an
Oh
animated,
yeah. Yeah.
and the little mouse Tanya sings a song, and I remember I had to go to work with my dad at the time. He was in he and my mom had a photo lab, one of their many jobs. At the time I was there, and I was singing that song, and I just remember somehow I was only 8 years old, so I remember I don't have the specific of how I even learned about this. It was probably at school, but the amateur hour that they used to hold and
Right.
give, yeah, and give children the opportunity to be on stage and express their talents. And
Beautiful.
I yeah, it started there. And I just remember, I don't come from a family of actors. And so it was very eccentric for me to say that I wanted to do that, to go on stage. And I just remember feeling so comfortable and so connected to the audience and to that song from that film. And that kind of sparked it from there. And it never left me, never left that urge to create and to be on stage or in
That's
front of
beautiful.
people.
Right. That's beautiful. You know, and how old were you again? When
I'm
when you
38. Oh, when I was,
yeah,
when
when
I was
you
eight.
yeah,
8. Yeah.
8 years old. You
Hmm.
know, we're the same age, and I remember when I was a kid too. I went to Universal Studios,
Yeah.
and I went to the
Yeah.
backlot tour,
Yes.
and
Yes.
seeing they were filming Jingle All the Way, and it was like
Oh, yeah.
the downtown scene,
Yes.
and just seeing that, it was magical.
Hmm.
You
It
know, and
was.
and I'm like, and so I wanted to do that, but the funny thing is, I had stage fright
Yeah.
for a long
Yeah.
time.
It's actually really normal. Very common.
Really.
Yeah, for actors, most of my friends do. I've had it at certain times, but I have a really good, very talented, another talented friend actor, like you, and she's come through it, but she had severe stage fright for a long time.
My mom is so she's actually in somewhere Montana as well.
Yeah.
That's the movie we're
Yeah.
talking about today,
Okay.
and that was actually speaking of like my mom and like just pursuing stuff. When I went down to LA years ago, did living in my car, chasing the dream down in LA, all that fun stuff, and I remember on the phone, I was getting off the Highway Bowl, Hollywood. I was just passing the Hollywood Bowl because I lived right off Sunset. And I was talking to my mom on the phone. I was working like 5, 6 days a week on a different show every day as background extra. I was just paying, 13.25, but it was so much experience. But I remember like
Mhm.
talking to her, and she's been a theater actress for 30 plus years.
Wow.
Um, and I was like, Mom, there's going to be one day you and I are going to be on a show or a movie. I'm like, someday.
Mm.
First day on set with somewhere in Montana when she was just an extra, a featured extra, which means she was in a lot of the scenes. So it wasn't just a 1 day thing. She was the movie inside the movie, and it was just cool. I cried a little bit, on set.
Did, did you
Yeah,
remind her, or
yeah.
did she remember that moment too, that you had said that?
She
Or
remembered when I brought it up. Yeah,
wow,
yeah, yeah,
special.
yeah.
Oh.
So, um, somewhere in Montana.
Yeah.
Where were you when you got the call for the audition or heard of this? What did you think? What roles did you audition for? Which ones pulled and talked to you? Which all that juicy goodness.
Oh gosh, yeah. Speaking of special, I mean, getting a script that's going to be filmed in your hometown, and I'm in and out of LA as well. Um, but for something to in the title, somewhere in Montana, I had received it from my agent Jenny Sachs. You're familiar. I think you have the same agent.
Yep, same manager.
She's
Look at that small
fantastic.
town stuff.
Yes,
She's awesome.
she is. Thank you, Jenny. So I received it from her. I remember it was shortly after my grandma's 80th birthday celebration, because we were driving back from Fairmont Hot Springs, and I had received, and I was like, oh my goodness, um, this is a big audition. This is a big audition. It's a feature film in Montana. So right there, like I'm already, you get excited, of course, when any audition comes in, but this was just from the time I got. Oh, and they let you read the script, and like there was
The
very
whole script.
yeah, the whole script.
They sent you the
Right?
whole script?
I'm trying to. I want to be accurate on this because I believe so. Because what I know to be true is that you got to choose which scenes you auditioned
Yeah.
for and
Yep.
which characters, which was very unique. And
I
so,
forgot about that. Yeah. Because,
and
yeah.
right.
Hmm.
And so yeah, so I remember reading the script, and of course, I love the story. I love that it was a story within a story. It felt kind of. I love that genre, and I auditioned for Rebecca, Shelby, and Dahlia, and I remember. I remember I did naturally, truly relate to Rebecca right away. I mean, she's an actress making her first big film. So it was just this feeling that I only get with certain roles. Um, you just have an instant connection and it goes deeper than just excitement. It's profound. It feels like that story is meant for you to tell. That's the only way I can express it. And I remember going through the script, and I chose to audition for the scene. I don't want to give anything away, so I'm trying to be delicate. But I
We haven't
chose to,
released it yet.
yeah, exactly. I have to remember that, even though I haven't seen it. Um, I chose to audition with the scene that I felt was the most challenging for an actress to portray because, again, it's a story within a story, and that I felt like it was a pivotal scene in the film. I felt that I could showcase my range because I had no idea who anybody was. And so I was like, this is an opportunity for them to see what I can do. And yeah, the scene is that the actress is having a problem on set, which is very relatable, and struggling to try and do her best. And so yeah, I chose that scene. I auditioned for, and then you go, you're again. I didn't know anyone. I loved to audition, loved any opportunity, so I auditioned for Shelby and Dahlia as well. Yeah.
I that early on, if people haven't seen because this is a part two of, because I'm gonna be getting as many people from somewhere in Montana. I already talked with Brandon and Eden, and Brandon directly, and he goes, "Hey man, yeah, definitely, I want to hop on and talk about it." Close to the release date, which October 18th, that is public. Somewhere in Montana will be released nationwide. Don't know which states, don't know which theaters, but nationwide. Very excited to share this masterpiece with the world. And it doesn't matter how many people I interview or how much we talk about it, it does not do it justice. You will need to just go watch it
Very
because
true.
it's beautiful.
So true. Yes.
Beautiful.
So true.
So yeah, so until I lost my train of thought. Where were we?
That's good. I just remembered the question that how did I receive the role, or do I remember?
Oh yeah, so you were related to Rebecca. Um, uh, and I do remember receiving of course, your audition.
Yeah, because
And
you were
that's what I was
the
saying. Yeah, if you
yeah,
haven't
you were
seen the other
the
parts, I did it early on. I did a lot of the casting. I did a lot of the thing in the film world goes is, the big names, people of different levels. I don't know, levels like unions and stuff like that. It's just an intricate world. It's an intricate world. And I'm seriously just a nobody from Montana. Like, I am just
not
self-taught from YouTube. Just living in movies, just being problem solver and go getter, just whatever. Um, so I did like most of the casting, but the big names, Ricky,
yeah,
she did an
yeah,
awesome job. Awesome
yeah,
job. She
yeah.
came in and did so much awesome casting. And it just, here's the thing about all of this. We all can't do this on our own.
No. Mm-mm.
Brandon couldn't do this on his own. Eden couldn't do this on her own. Graham can't do this on his own. You can't do this on your own. I can't do this on my own. Matt, nobody can do this on their own. It's the thing is, I explain this to my student, my little acting students. I have a good class. They're all good, great classes. But this one's completely online, which is the first one, which is it's fun. It's really fun. Because Montana's spread and wide, it's really hard to get a solid class in Missoula.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I explain it to this way. I'm like, see, look at a film set like it's a painting, like it's an empty, huge canvas, and there's not one painter. There's a painter that has an idea of what the picture should be, and they're gonna find the people that see that same vision, but understand that their brush strokes are their own brush strokes. And they bring something to complement the masterpiece. Yeah. So everybody comes together with their paintbrush, and through the respecting the art. There's in every position in film is an art. When I was doing casting, I didn't realize how much of an art form that is, of recognizing and understanding what the director's vision is of, and the writing and everything, and trying to find people to match that emotion and character, and trusting that yourself of being able to do the task. And when I came across yours, I told Matt this. I'm like, Matt, you weren't my first pick, to be honest with you, man. Mm-hmm. I'm like, and it's not personal. It's just, it's not personal. But yours, I was like, geez. Brendan's like, yep. Because I would watch them. I'd watch all the I'd at this point, I was getting people from Washington. I was getting people from the other states coming in here. I was getting like 50, 60 a day, and it was just me. I didn't have an assistant. I had like my mom to help me, kind of, but she didn't know what she was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to teach her. But
I think you're being a little too humble, because the casting is an absolute own skill set, right?
Yeah.
Think about how many times you as an actor, and the beautiful metaphor that you created, by the way, with the canvas and the painting. I mean, you've tapped into that, and think about the hundreds of auditions you've done and fit that way. So I think that part of your journey probably led you to be a natural at that skill set. But yeah.
Thank you.
Very appreciative. Yeah, you've been a part of this journey since the beginning. So thank you.
I appreciate
it. I'm grateful that that's how my tape came across, because we never get this opportunity to hear as actors from what did work. And especially
exactly,
because there was no nepotism. There's no I didn't know any of you. And so the fact that it was literally my audition that booked the job means the world. It was pretty cool. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. And people don't know how the casting process works as the actor, because I've been an actor for over a decade, self-taught. I took a few classes at the university, and my mom, she was a theater actress, so she gave me some tips and stuff like that. And I don't know, I just watched a lot of movies growing up, and I just have always been animated. I've always been like I'm in a movie, like everything's a scene. And then I honestly, I reflected back after I did the casting for this, and it came together, and just saw it. I'm just like, wow. But I reflected back growing up, I would see people out on the street. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, they belong in an Italian movie. You know what I mean? I'm like, that person belongs there. Oh man. I would ask people, have you ever like asked, like a lot of street casting I was doing, I didn't realize. And so it came together when I was like, okay, getting shot down by big names. I completely mispronounced Rami Malek's name when I called that his assistant to the agents. And I was like, is Mr. Malik there? May I check the availability of Mr. The Who? I'm like, Rami Malik? You mean Rami Malek? I'm like, yeah, woo!
Did you call him for this movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, would it have been Fabian?
Yep. No. either Fabian or Spence.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, he could play. I could see either. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was just interesting because even that journey, it wasn't like I was reaching out to big names,
Mhm.
like some decent names, and it was just crazy because little old town me, I'm just like I just didn't think that I'd ever be reaching out like that. And I'll tell you what, do you think it was like I was so comfortable and confident doing all this?
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
Well, I would never, for what it's worth, I would never have been able to tell that you were so new to the casting process. You were always very professional, and yeah, I remember from the beginning through the callback and then on to set. So, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And the thing is too with this is thank you. And your guys' performance is a reflection of my art, which was doing the casting. So seeing y'all's performance, I remember when we were filming and we would do our, after wrap for the day, we'd go and do our, around the bonfire and just hang out, have a good time. I just remember is you, Kaylee, Matt, John, and I think Katie was there.
Yeah.
But just everybody that I cast was like sitting around and just like seeing you guys' performance like on camera and everything, or just being there to see it. Because the casting director also isn't going to be there on set usually either to watch you do your do your art, which is a reflection of their art. So it was just really great to see that, and like I don't know, and just things like this don't happen up here in Montana to little Montana kids.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So when you got the role of Rebecca, I can't remember. Did I call you? Oh no, Jenny called you.
Jenny did because
she likes to call and give that news.
She likes to call, and it was really special. I do remember though the callback with you and Brandon and Eden.
Yeah.
And how good it felt, and I literally, so I just remember I felt such peace, again, because I just felt I did the best I could, prepared a lot, and then also just let it go, but because you guys were also kind and professional too, it felt like this was a win no matter what, even if I don't book this. These are people that I want to work with in the future, and I would like to stay in touch with. And so then, when I got the call from Jenny that I actually booked it, I mean it was pretty spectacular, pretty fun. And she's, her when you book something, and she's such a great advocate for us. I'm so fortunate to be represented by her, and how much she cares about helping me sculpt my career. So
she a lot of my success is because of her. So huge thanks to Jenny. No, she's awesome. It's just funny how it was funny even at the somewhere. So I met Jenny. This is really quick. When I was so desperate to do acting in Montana years and years ago, I literally emailed anything film, anything TV, news stations, emailed, and then I also walked in with my resume, basically saying, I want to be around this. I'll get your coffee for free. Just let me be part of this. Like I was desperate to just do this passion. Because I wasn't tired of like doing like little tiny 19-year-old music videos, in college. But I just wanted to step it up a little bit. And I think Tina Buckingham like threw me a bone, and I was like, "Hey, Jenny," and then she's my agent, and it was like 5 years she was my agent, and I never seen her, never met her in person. And at the premiere at somewhere in Montana, I see Tina with somebody, there's a bunch of people. And all of a sudden I'm outside talking with some people and I hear her voice behind me. Jared. And I'm all,
Hi.
and she's short.
I
I'm
know,
6 foot.
she's so petite because she has that was my first time meeting her in person too. We were giggling.
Was it?
Oh yeah, like
She's mysterious.
You and I have very similar, story. Like Tina cast me in a Geico commercial, and I had not met her. And I had not met her. No, I had met her at a play prior, but Jenny had been years that we've been working together. And then, I told she's like, I'm going to be there. I'm like, are you serious? You're going to come? I was so excited. And then
She didn't tell me.
She's so bold. Yeah. Well, and she's. I don't think that was nefarious. I just.
I don't know.
I kind of get the feeling that she's a little shy in person, but I don't know. I don't know if that.
I don't know. I've only seen her for 30 seconds one time.
I know, and she has such a big personality, and I wasn't expecting her. She's so petite and lovely. But yeah, that was also, oh my gosh, for the premiere, that was, she and Tina and my parents and a lot of people, that it made it all that more.
The community.
Yeah, community.
The community came together. That's what we're missing nowadays is community. Strong community. Yeah. Strong tribes, strong groups of like-minded people to just love one another, no matter what, you know, and just coming together. And but that premiere was just amazing. And I'm excited to see when this actually gets when it does get released. Just see where it goes from there. When you got the role for Rebecca, since you related to her so much already, what did you do to prepare for this role, to get in the emotional mindset of Rebecca?
I resorted back to my training in different aspects. In the University of Montana, Missoula, Margie Haber. I've trained with Daniel Travis from Nancy Bake Studios. And so I kind of just collaborated. I kind of created my own technique, if you will. And so the first thing first thing I knew, because I genuinely related to her, is not to push that. Is not to try to pretend I'm not. I don't have a lot in common with her, because I do. And I feel like that was divinely connected. I feel like we're all sent these roles and relate to these roles that we're meant to play. So I trusted, first thing, used my technique. Literally, I took and broke down the script multiple times of, where I'm at, the 101s, right? Like, where am I? Who am I talking to? Why am I here? What do I want? The acting fundamentals. And then, into different scenes, I knew, like, for instance, I just was asked a similar question about when I see Polson, the lake, for the first time, Flathead Lake. And up on forgive me, I don't know what is the pass called that we shot up there?
I have no clue. I'm terrible with names of like this. I'm like, I'll put Flathead on the left side.
Well, the beautiful area, you'll see it in the film. And it was literally breathtaking. And we did. And before we got up to that scene, I knew I had rehearsal with Brandon and Kaylee. And Brandon was very specific on the essence of what he wanted the arc of the scene to be. And so for like that particular scene, I'm like, yes, I'm from Montana, but Rebecca is not. But Tasha, something I have in common in this moment is that I've never seen this same place. So just let it be. I don't have to push. And that's such a gift as an actor, right? Is like, I don't have to put anything on. I don't have to act. I just gotta be in the truth of it. And so I tried to my best of letting Tasha come through Rebecca in the times I felt it was most appropriate, and then also on different essences of Rebecca or Caroline, because I basically, Rebecca then plays Caroline. So I essentially play two characters. What are those moments that I have no relation to? I've never been a pioneer woman. I've never been in love intimately with another woman, romantically, excuse me. But Caroline was. So that was a huge stretch. So yeah, just a lot of asking myself what the balance is, and where technique can be used, imagination, and structure.
That's awesome. With like the fundamentals of like learn, like trying to get in the character and the scene and just understand the project. Like what has helped me understand how to get into those modes and find the motivation and like where are you, all that kind of stuff. And just understanding that all art is emotional, and we're just basically trying to portray emotion in this certain form, in this certain style for this project, and just really understanding, like breaking everything down to an emotion, like because your motivation is an emotion. You're motivated by emotion. Like if the scene is like you're getting out of bed and you don't want to get out of bed, we've all been there. The emotion would be tired, exhausted, the angry, fear, all those things, and just breaking things down for emotion. And I kid you not, I never started acting years and years ago, ever thinking I would open up an acting studio.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I have an acting studio is because Montana lacks sources for. They have a brilliant and amazing of resources for filmmaking on the production side mainly, but not on the actual film acting side. There's like maybe private people, individuals, but I went to the University of Montana I went there to learn business, just like every freshman that doesn't know what they're doing, and then psychology. But then I took an improv to acting, and I never really acted yet. And I did like maybe some plays, or just I did. My brother and I, growing up, we would stay up all night just making these stupid videos with a video camera, with a tape, and just do all this goofy stuff. And so I took this improv to acting class, and in improv to acting, it can be really related to theater or film. And so I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I'm going to do movies. And then I had to take all these theater stuff. I had to do theater construction. I had to do all this stuff. And I'm like, I had to learn like behind the scene, like the in depths of like theater history and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to be in movies.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Did you have that class with Teresa Woldorf, or was someone else teaching it? Do you remember?
The improv to acting was a gentleman, a short little redheaded gentleman.
Oh.
Yeah. And then my other coach, or my acting teacher, when I finally got into acting class, you had to audition for it. Yeah. It was Greg Johnson, rest in peace. He passed away a few years back. But he was intense. And I still remember a lot of his training. So I have to give credit to Greg Johnson. He probably would have never remembered me. But he had some amazing techniques, and I use this in my class. Helping people understand, just a drunk person on camera is technically, and they should be sober, but it's technically a sober person pretending to be drunk, and every actual drunk person is trying to act sober.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My mom says, "Hey Tasha, sorry I'm late. So good to see you. Beautiful face."
You're so sweet. Hi, Cammie. Going back to the resources. I did go to the University of Montana for all 4 years for acting, and I'm so grateful that it's fundamentally for, theater, but like you said, you can transition that into film, and I think it's
Yeah.
growing more and more, but man, I'm so grateful for the education I received there, and we had voice
Yeah.
and speech and classical training and um, physical performance and stage combat, and
Man, I guess I should have stuck it out a little more. I guess the cooler stuff was
there.
coming.
Well, I
I was just, I'm young and impatient.
well, Greg, I remember Greg saying in this in one of our classes. He was like, "Everybody wants to go out and be the next Leonardo DiCaprio now, but stay and train your craft." And granted, like I found everybody as an artist has their own prerogative of what they find valuable, and especially
Mm,
when it comes to training. And but I found it profoundly valuable, and I'm really grateful. And but not everybody, wanted to go through the mid programs. It was, could train for 4 years and then possibly not pass through the rest of the
yeah.
program. After those, I mean, that alone scared people away the first day, and
Dang.
the teachers and the professors intended that to happen.
Yeah.
But then some people, again, then they wanted like to go out and really start working in the field right away and get submerged into the scary jungle of Hollywood.
Well,
So,
you're absolutely right.
yeah.
You're absolutely right.
But I'm just
That's,
saying, like it's yeah. So I feel like um that there are great resources and whatever, but it's your prerogative to find
yeah.
what works best for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I learned over the years of trial by fire, trial and trial by fire.
Yeah.
But that's what I teach my students too. I'm like, in beginners, my beginners acting class, they don't touch a script. They don't look at a script
Uh-huh.
because I tried that. I've been there, and all you do is you pick up a script, and if you don't know what kind of document you're looking at, if you go and try to pick up lawyer papers, that's what I call them, lawyer papers, and try to translate those, you're not trained to look at them or
Mhm.
understand them.
Mhm.
So if you're gonna be like, okay, go be a lawyer, go represent me, which is so that, and I saw students in my first few classes. I saw these students do this, and I'm just like, I felt so bad because I was like, I'm not doing them the due diligence of helping them build a good foundation, and also you can go to school for years and learn acting and learn it, but if you're never in front of the camera on
Yeah.
set,
Right. Right.
all that training will go out the window because it's a different environment.
Uh, Oh yeah. Totally different environment. And in theater you're performing everything in sequence, right?
Yeah.
In film, definitely not.
Yeah.
That
It's
alone is it's mental gymnastics
yeah.
to hone that skill.
I've
Yeah.
you know I've done stage performance stuff. I've done a few plays. But I'm also a street performer. I
Mhm.
busk, hold still as a living statue,
Oh,
and
cool.
so I do different performances. But I'll tell you what, film is its own beast if you're not prepared for it, and that's why I tell my students, I'm like, okay, you guys need to go one of their homework assignments is in like second classes, go find where you can be a background actor
Hmm.
because I want to save you money and time if you instead of like going to these classes and spend all this money and you've never been on set and you finally get to set and you're like, I hate this.
Right.
Ugh.
The experience. Yeah.
I just wasted your time
Yep.
and I took your money and I can't do that. That's not in
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
That's I I didn't know that you were trained by Greg Johnson too. That's
Oh
cool.
yeah. Greg's yeah, and then he directed right out of college. I went on cat tour with the Montana Repertory Theater, which he was I mean, that was his baby. He
Yeah.
was so involved. But yeah, he was my director for my first professional play ever as well.
Wow. Look
Mhm.
at the turntables. Or
I
wait,
know. Well, and
what's this
that
say?
like the paths, how like
Yeah.
I know we hadn't known each other until this somewhere in
Yeah.
Montana process, but like, yeah, Greg, come back, miss you, Greg.
Yeah. Um, also, here's crazy thing about Montana, and even in the film Somewhere Montana, like the cool thing about the movie, and that can't give away anything besides what's, um, but it just really does, I feel, represent a very good representation of Montana and then also
Yes.
Montanans and
Yes.
how we live. It's a different world. I've lived all over the world. I've been in big cities. I've lived in LA. I've seen all this stuff. But Montana has its own vibe.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
whole state does. And from each town to town, we also have our own vibes.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Very
Like,
true.
Butte, Bozeman, all those stuff places. Um, so when you were preparing for this role and that you and going back on, I guess what Greg Johnson said, taught me about sober persons that's acting drunk, but the drunk person's trying to act sober. You were a Montanan
Mm-hmm.
acting like a non-Montanan, but but in Montana. So how, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, the views, because there are views around here that this state's so huge. Been here for over 20 some years and I haven't seen nearly 3/4 of the state in beautiful places. So it's still breathtaking. But did it feel like in those moments, did it feel like you were like not a stranger, but like a new person to this land?
Um. Hmm. Polson, yes. The relationships, no. If that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Sorry, my
ones that.
question was kind of.
No, not at all. I'm just thinking about how to answer this accurately, because I also had the other thing is I had 9 years living experience in Los Angeles by myself. So
Okay. Yeah.
Rebecca, when I created my backstory about Rebecca, I actually gave her the same time frame as Tasha, like in different ways. I made up her a very different family story than I have in real life. But coming so in those moments, like I was more focused on the relationships and the scenes. And then when the scene was about like the scene that I was talking about before, when Montana has its own, it's like not just a featured background role, right?
Yeah.
When the scene and Brandon's directing it, and it's like it's about Montana right here. Again, just letting that flow. But no, I never felt a stranger. It was more like um, in the scenes with like Kate, who I that also Kate is a phenomenal actress, very naturally intimidating because she's so good and she's so funny, and I had never met her, so it was more the I try to relate the I try to relate to the characters in the way that was appropriate for them being in Montana, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It does. Huh.
Okay. But Kaylee, like the scenes with her being in Montana, it was just letting that live, like it, um, and Kaylee did such a fascinating job of acting and feeling like she was a natural in Montana. So I could just lean on the relationship between that character and what was going on in the scene to be comfortable with the setting.
It's actually interesting that the person that's from Montana had the out of stater role, and the one from
Yes,
out of state had the Montana role, and you guys
exactly.
portrayed them so brilliantly that you can't tell the difference. Like you can't sense that at all on camera.
Thank you. That's a huge
Um,
compliment. That's
yeah,
the hope on our end, right? So
yeah, yeah.
they did the job.
Right,
Thanks. Okay.
right. In the whole emotional aspect to just being on set and working with new people, because yeah, you had some callbacks and you had some video calls with Brandon and other people and stuff. But once you get on set, it's we're all kind of just meeting each other for the first time.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I do remember after one of the scenes, one of a pretty intense scenes. And the thing is, as an actress, um, and an actor, is you want to give your best.
Yes.
You want to, and you've been preparing because this production was pushed like 2 years.
Mhm.
Um, we did a lot of the initial casting at the beginning, but y'all had the script for a good minute to go over it. And so it's like game time. And then it's insane because you have all these lines to memorize and all these scenes, and it's not like a play where you do the entire thing each night, each day, each matinee, over and over. No, a movie is you shoot one little scene that you've been possibly preparing for years, and you want to give it 1, 2, 3 takes. But with certain productions, sometimes you just, if it's good, moving on. But then also when you're rehearsing that, you're in this mental state. And then when the physicality and the acting and the memorization comes into play, and then if it gets switched up without feeling good with a shot or just feeling good about something, it can really maybe jog you. And do you mind sharing that time where you were, I felt from a distance, I was reading that you were just being really hard on yourself about a situation, about a scene, without saying much about it, but the scene itself, but just the emotion behind it, because I could just tell from a distance that you felt something like tore up or just something about that scene or that situation.
Yeah.
Not a situation, but just, that's just that time.
Sure. This was a huge learning experience for me, in multiple aspects. But for one, so the scene I had the most trouble with filming was ironically the scene I auditioned with and felt the best about that I've ever auditioned with. It just came naturally. And so from that, from starting at the beginning, so then you do this audition that you feel so good about, which sometimes is really rare, right? Like feeling like, wow, I felt like the magic happened, and you're getting all these compliments, and then you book the job, so at least if nothing else, your friends at that point, I know my friends, my boyfriend who I asked to watch, are not just being kind. Like it logistically worked, right? The technique was there. So then you flash forward, like you said, you have 2 years because of the push. And I don't just shelve it. Like I work on it a little bit all the time and then just vamp up, once the contract comes into place. So I've had adequate time, like probably, to be honest, more time. Like then I start to overthink. And that's what happened with this scene is I put so much pressure on it because I know you can't replicate anything. You can't replicate anything. And and you don't want to. Like I auditioned with Isaac, who's my beloved boyfriend and so supportive, but he's not Matt, he's not an actor. So it's gonna change. It's gonna change when you get your costumes, when you've lived in your character for longer. And so I just kept building this pressure. And I remember the night before. So then finally we're on set and we're told that we're gonna get multiple takes and they're gonna cut it up and cut it up. And so then we do it in like 2 takes and they take a long shot. And feel I did not feel I got where I needed to be emotionally. I had this idea of what it should look like, what it should feel like. And Brandon yells cut and they're starting to rap and move and I no 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 Brandon, we're gonna flip and we're gonna do close and we're gonna do a cut. He's like, no, we got it. No, we got it.
Yeah.
And you saw me after I just, I did. I'll be like, Brandon knows this because we laugh about it now. But I'm like, I learned to trust him. I had thought how much I trusted him until that moment. But when you're an actor who's like put this much time in, and you're like, just give me one more take, just give me one more take. But then shooting on the budget that we did, and you don't want to disrespect anybody else's time. That it's in the cam. You're going with what you got. And you saw me when I was a little sulking, sulking a little bit. I just felt like I failed. I did. And I remember you were so kind and you were like, you got it. And you were just, you related to me as an actor trying to do a great job, trying to, do your work, honor the job that you've been given. And so you helped, first of all, lift me out of that and have faith that that was what that was the shot that it was going to be. And then walking back, I asked Michelle, who was so gracious with her time as well. And I said, she had watched the scene. And she gave me some great feedback and told me that that acting is like a unicorn. There's no perfect scene. If you try to chase that unicorn, like you'll, it's just impossible. So you got to let it go, and you got to, and you got it. Um, and come to find out, so then the evolution of this story within the story within the story, that after seeing it on film, we did get it, and it just, like, it makes me emotional thinking that right now, because um, I just want, actors should know that you're, when you just trust and you let go, like the director knows the story, especially Brandon wrote the script, so you just trust and know that there is no such thing as perfection.
No.
Yeah.
You know what that beautifully said, because you're
No.
absolutely right. Beautifully said, because when I was finally understanding the emotion, like, I guess I always was like, what's the secret to acting? Like, why are you doing it? I'm not, blah, all those comparisons and
Yeah.
all those negative emotions and feelings that just let it go,
Yeah.
But I could tell from a distance, girl, you
Oh.
were you were eating yourself up, and I couldn't, and I know, I'm like, I've been there. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what she's going through, because it's hard, because
Yeah.
in that situation, and you're absolutely right, trusting the other artists with their
Hmm.
brush strokes for the painting and for the overall masterpiece. And Brandon is just awesome out in collaborating. And but it's and here's the thing. You were so built up with that emotionally, and
Hmm.
you felt like you didn't get the emotion out that you felt, that you did all this preparing, and you
Yeah.
wanted to give it your all.
Yeah.
And it felt like, yeah, they did get it, but I felt that the emotion was still real and it was still there. So you just had to get that out. And just as the actor in that moment, though, realizing that it's okay, like Michelle said, you got it. You just
Yeah.
got to trust. You just got to, you know what? I did. And then guess what? You will never have to do that scene or say those words
Yeah.
ever again. I mean, as far as filming goes, it's not like a production. It's not like a play.
Well, no,
You know?
and to realize too that, like, going back to something else Greg would say, and like, it's not about you. It's not, um, which I knew that, but like, really trusting, like Matt, who also was very prepared, and what he was giving, the words are there, and trusting, like, the scene is about this. What's, Brandon's gonna sculpt it. Did we hit that? We did. So I,
Yeah.
yeah, it was such a full circle moment in developing your technique from audition. And I just want to thank you again for that. Was so kind. You didn't have to see. I was definitely struggling, and you made it all. You made it, at least, so I didn't go have 5 margaritas and cry myself to sleep. Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Thanks. Yeah.
It was an honor to. I don't know. I also just I just knew that we're all a bunch of underdogs. We're a bunch of nobodies. You know what I mean? And it's like it was like our dream had come true.
Yeah.
And I just want everyone to have fun and relax and have a good time. But I also understand there's a lot of emotion that goes into all this. And so just seeing it, I'm just like, I can't just let my if it was you, if it was anybody else, Matt,
Yeah.
anybody, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. You would.
But that's just awesome how just even Michelle and just the entire cast and crew, it was just, we became a family.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and it's just fun, and we created a very strong family, and a lot of the people from there now I follow on social media. I see their journeys, and it's
Mhm.
just so great to support it, your support
Yeah.
group, your network. We've got people down in LA, we got people up here in Montana, we got people all around, and
Mhm.
just building that kind of family and community in just a few weeks,
Yeah.
and but everyone has their part, everyone has their role. um yeah, beautiful. That was just a beautiful scene too. I just can't
Oh,
wait
thank
to
you.
everyone to see it.
Thank you. Yeah, I just watched the film again in the Big Sky screening on Friday, April 26th. And
How was that?
it was fantastic. And it was really nice to, Joe and Brandon were there. I had never been to Big Sky before. It's amazing. And
I've never been there either. Yeah.
It's so cool. And it was really lovely. My grandma got to go, my dad and my mom. And so it was really special. And we had a really great question and answer after that. That always makes me feel good when people want to sit and ask questions about the film and the process and what's next. So yeah, it went well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's and that's because it's just fun to discuss your art. It's fun to be like, thanks for watching. You care? Okay, yeah, and this. That's why like these podcasts are fun. Like, man, my other podcast that I had, it was fun, but also my perspective. Going back to like the beginning of what we're talking about, like changing our perspectives with stuff. Even over the past few months, past few weeks, my perspective of the world has just changed itself. And then that has changed and has rippled in positive effects into just life, like relaxing, not stressing, not like when that stress, is expelled in a not nice way, maybe frustration with my kids or just stuff like that. But just relaxing and just life is just good. And just knowing that it's okay and just sorry, I just had a brain fart.
You're okay.
Those happen sometimes, quite often, a few times during these.
That's all right.
So, Tasha, what are your upcoming projects? What are you up to? Tell the world what's going on. How can they find you on social medias? Any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Thanks, Jared. The next thing for film is I am leading a short by Allison Adams of Virginia City.
Sweet.
I don't know what the release date is, but it's based on a true story. And that will be coming out. I shot last year with Mo Brings Plenty, a film.
Nice.
Buffalo Days. So that will be in the future. I don't have specifics yet on that, but hopefully coming out. Auditioning. And then, like you said, we all don't just do acting, right? And something I'm very proud of artistically is I face paint professionally and balloon twist. And I'm really looking for, I love it. I love it just as much as acting. And I will be at the Anaconda Deer Lodge Fair this August and the Huckleberry Days this August.
Woo!
For a couple of them. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. I on Facebook, Tashia Gates. I'm on and off there. I don't know. I'm just not. I'm on social media when there's like something happening, but
right. Same here. It's like we got so many irons in the fire and all this and that.
Yeah.
It's like the social media presence. Tasha, she does amazing face painting, and I'll be up at the Huckleberry Festival with her as a living statue. I hold still, bronze cowboy. Like to scare people. I love supporting local artists, Montana local artists, but also artists overall. That's why I started this podcast, was just to talk to people and just get the perspective of the world and different artists, because there's so much art out there, and I feel there's like this shift in the world now that they're really understanding art and it's being more appreciated, maybe because of social media, because people know we can share our art and stuff like that, but and we can actually make a living doing our art. One of the things in Montana that is for us artists up here, even as actors, is to make a living at this. Like most artists, actors, people around here, we usually all have day jobs. Right now, I would love to be doing all this full time, as far as creating this. This was made by one of my friends for the Hot Dwg brand, but Hot Dwg stands for. And this is all decoupage. and stuff like.
Really?
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah. And so,
Very cool.
Hot Dog stands for Harbor of Talented Designers Working Together.
I love
So,
it. I didn't know that's what
uh,
it stood for. That's fantastic.
yeah. So I'm all about art. I'm all about the love and grace of Jesus Christ and emotions, and all of it ties together. And just hearing, you know, being able to talk about it too, and then so it's good. And then just promoting local artists, just creating that community, and just know that hey, all of us have been trying to do this alone, and we're all. How has it been going for us, y'all?
Yeah. Yeah. To
It's
know that
man,
we're
we're meant to
not.
collaborate.
Yeah, it's
You know.
all of it. I mean, acting is one of the most collaborative form. I don't know if there's a more collaborative art form. Maybe dance, but yeah,
Yeah.
never alone.
Never alone. Well, I appreciate everybody watching that will watch or hasn't watched. I just appreciate everybody. I appreciate Tasha for taking the time to hop on a conversation with silly old Jr. here at Hot Dog Live. I'm excited. We should have. I got some, believe Kaylee and some other people lined up. Just getting them on the roster. If you're listening, it'd be awesome if you like what you heard. Subscribe, give it a like. Check us out on. Well, Hot Dog Live is just on YouTube, but on Tasha's local, her information, her projects, the links below. But I appreciate everybody to coming out on Hot Dog Live. This is a new setup, and I forgot my laptop, so I don't have my outro, my official outro, but it's all good. Check out Somewhere Montana. We'll be releasing to the nation October 18th of this year, 2024. My tech man is scrolling. Yeah, but I didn't have my outro, dude. Okay, it's all good.
I was just gonna say thank you, Jared. Thanks for
I
having me.
appreciate you, Tasha.
I
Yeah,
do.
absolutely.
I'm grateful to be a part of this, and yeah, thanks to the viewers, and thanks for everybody who was a part of Summer Montana, and everyone who's going to go see it.
Yeah, we're getting a little sneak peek with all these interviews before the release.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. It would be awesome to get do big round table of everybody after it's released into the public. That'd be fun.
Be fantastic. Yes.
Hey, Joe, Brandon, Eden, just saying that. Yeah. And Joe, let's combine our podcasts and do a big round table. That'd be fun. Yeah. But I appreciate everybody watching. Comments below. Tune in every other Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I say that because I get that question asked quite often. Hey, it's better to have the information right in front of you than have to do the time and do all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks for watching Hot Dog Live, and everyone have a sweet night. Remember to always seek your own truth and knowledge, because that's what it's all about. Love God, love people, love thy neighbor as thyself. Thank you, Tasha.
Thank you, Jared.
Have a great evening.
You too. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye.
Thanks.
I always forget how to click out of this thing. So this is like the outro. I'm clicking the X. You have to hold your face or something. I don't know. Oh, no gangs.